Okay, so may I invite your attention, guys, to the Excel file that I shared with you, and kindly open the Excel file and then please open to data one, the worksheet data one. Okay, so this came from, my reference here is, this was a discussion made by Tufte, the visual display of quantitative information. Okay, and in 1973, Anscombe wrote this in the American Statistician, the graphs in statistical analysis. So what's the point in this? Okay, so we have here 4 pairs of data, x1, x1, y1 up to x4, y4. So this is the Anscombe's data. And what you notice about the size, the mean, the standard deviation, and the correlation. What do you notice about them?
Sure, the pairs are equal po. Yung same yung mean, standard
Yeah.
deviation, and the size.
Yes, correct. No? Pareho yung mean nila, pareho yung standard deviation, at saka yung correlation. The correlation among the x and y of the pairs are the same at 0.82. No? Ganun din yung mean nila at saka yung standard deviation among the x and the y. So you might be thinking that since they have the same mean, standard deviation, and correlation, they must have almost the same plots. So it can be difficult to reading the text I place here, guys, to demonstrate the importance of data visualization. Kasi some people would think that charts are just nice to have ones. No? Okay, meron, pero okay din hindi. They're just pretty pictures. Kasi all of the important information can be divined through statistical analysis. While statistical analysis, guys, is very important, syempre, we don't debate with the fact that knowing the mean, the standard deviation, the correlation between two variables have their roles to play in analyzing or appreciating the data. It's also important to know the graphics of your data set. So if I plot this, for example, I plot the first pair in Excel, insert, and then let's use a scatter plot. So the first plot looks like this one. Okay. If I delete the lines. So this is your first plot. If we plot the second, okay, thank you. If we plot the second, insert. Okay, so let me plot everything first. The third pair, let's plot the third pair, insert. And then the fourth pair. Okay, so we have these 4 plots, guys. These plots have the same mean, the same standard deviation, the same correlation. So what does this tell us? It's not enough for us just to compute the statistics, the descriptive statistics. Although we can glean information out of that, it's also very important that we see how the data behaves by plotting it. Okay, so this is pair 1, pair 2, pair 3, pair 4, and we see that they actually behave differently. They behave differently even if they have the same mean, they have the same standard deviation, and they have the same correlation among the variables. Okay, to magnify this more, let's take a look at this data number 2. You have here a dozen of pairs. Okay, so this is coming from the Datasaurus dozen by Alberto Cairo. He created this data set which urges people to never trust summary statistics alone. Take note of that, guys. He was saying, do not trust summary statistics alone. Always visualize your data. Okay, since while data exhibits this data actually exhibits seemingly the same normal statistics, yet they reveal different pictures. So I leave guys to you to explore what is the mean of X here, Y here, X here also, Y here, and then the standard deviation, the variance, the correlation. And it turns out, guys, that the mean of the x's of all the x's are the same, also the y's, just like in data number one. And the correlation are also the same. Okay, so also the variance, even the slopes and the intercepts, okay, they're the same. So, and yet, guys, and yet, even if they exhibit the same statistical data, statistical measures, yet if we plot this, example, I'm going to plot. So for your own satisfaction, guys, kindly just compute the details below. If we plot this, insert, we see that plot number one looks like this one. Okay, they seem to be uh, symmetrical. Okay, and then they seem to be moving away from each other. That's why Cairo called this the away plot. Okay, and then let's take a look at the other plots. Let's take a look at X here. Insert. So it looks like an X plot. This one. Okay, let's have some more examples. Okay, so several different shapes, totally different shapes, and yet they have the same mean, the same standard deviation, the same variance, the same correlation. Circle, guys. Okay, so this is a very cool way by which Cairo came up with this illustration of the importance of data visualization as an addendum, as a reinforcement in order to appreciate data uh, and not just relying on statistical summaries. Okay, so these are 12 all in all, a dozen. So may I just request you to please plot the last pair here and try to see what it looks like. And then paki-chat guys kung what the 12th pair of X and Y looks like.
Sir, dinosaur po.
Dinosaur ba?
Dinosaur, sir.
Who got dinosaurs, guys? Yeah, oh, correct. No? Cool, ano? Cool. I like this work done by in illustrating. Okay, you have one dinosaur. Yeah, that's why he called it the Datasaurus. He called it the Datasaurus complex. Okay, the Datasaurus dozen. Okay, so what's the moral here, guys? What's the moral of our story here? Yeah, ako rin, amazing, ano? Cute. Ang cool. So what's the moral of this story here, guys? What are we trying to say here? data visualization is very important. It's not enough for us just to be able to measure yung statistical summaries niya. That's not enough. It's important to see how our data looks like, how our data behaves. Otherwise, guys, we might be eaten up alive in our analysis. Okay, so just remember this uh, dinosaur story. Okay, so may I invite you now, guys, to open our markdown file. So I have to delete this first. Okay, can you see the screen, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we begin our formal introduction to ggplot2 using, of course, our platform of choice, our markdown. And I requested you, I asked you to install some of the packages here. I think what I requested you to install was only up to string R. Could you kindly add this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5 packages? And I'll give you time to install that and run the library. And once you're done with the installation, so let me pause for the recording. Now, it's important, guys, to understand or to at least know, be familiar with what particular packages are able to do, their functionalities, what's the purpose of using them. So I'd like you to do some research. Okay, Tidyverse, that's a very popular package. ggplot2 we're going to use now. dplyr also. So these 2 packages we're going to use in greater detail, guys, starting in a little while. Gapminder is a very important package also. In fact, the data that you find in Hans Rosling, the video we watched a while ago, can be found here also. Then Cable Extra. Okay, so kindly start looking at these packages, guys. Of course, we're going to use other packages as well, but these are very important packages as far as our data analysis subject is concerned. Okay, and then make sure that you have already also required them. Okay, make sure you have run the library so that they are available for use. We all know, guys, that even if we have installed the package, which we only do once, unless we're updating, it won't run. We won't be able to. We won't be able to use the functionalities of the package unless we require it. Okay, so what's our lesson is all about data visualization, and it takes its roots from what we call the grammar of graphics. So the grammar of graphics, it's a theory, guys. It's a theory used for data visualization. And this is the foundation used for ggplot2 package. The analogy is that in English, or for that matter in any language, there are objects or elements in that language. For example, English, we know that there are nouns, verbs, there are parts of speech in any sentence. Now, there are, of course, grammatical rules. We just can't combine words and with that randomly combine words and we come up with a meaningful phrase or clause or a sentence. That's not the case. There are what we call linguistic rules or linguistic grammar in order to come up with the sentences and thus be able to convey an intelligent meaning. Okay, just like in languages, ganun din guys sa data visualization, sa graphics. No? There's what we call the grammar of graphics. And the grammar of graphics is based on layering. So we construct statistical graphics by combining different types of layers. By combining different layers, then we're able to come up with a meaningful plot. Ang origin itong grammar of graphics nito is Leland Wilkinson. And then si Hadley, alimutan ko yung family name niya. Generated this ggplot2, Hadley Wilkins ba yun? Anyway, he came up with ggplot2, which was based on the grammar of graphics. Of course, may mga konting differences, no? Most of these statistical packages now make use of the grammar of graphics. So si R yun na ginagamit, si Tableau din, a very well-known package also, software I mean. Okay? So in a nutshell guys, yung grammar of graphics, merong three main essential components. Three essential components. Ano yung mga essential components na yun? These are yung data mismo, okay, the data. Of course, wala naman tayong pwedeng ma-plot kung walang data, no? The data itself, and then what we call the aesthetic mapping. Aesthetic mapping, or mapping for short. This is where we plot the attributes of any geometric objects. For example, others call this coordinate, no? The coordinate planes. Ano yung x-axis, ano yung y-axis, yung color ng variable, yung shape ng variable, yung size ng variable, etc. Okay, these aesthetic attributes are mapped to variables in the data set. Okay, it's called the mapping or aesthetic mapping. And then lastly, of course, we have the shape of the object itself, yung geom. Okay, so ito yung tatlong basic components, main components ng ginagamit natin sa grammar of graphics. And the grammar of graphics, as I said a while ago, is what is used in ggplot. There are other components which we will also look into, pero ito yung pinaka-main components. So pag present yung tatlong yan guys, may plot na tayo. If you have data and a static mapping or mapping, but we don't have the geom, walang magiging plot. Okay? If we have a static mapping, may geom ka, pero wala ka naman data, wala rin. So these three are very important aspects or components of your plot. Without them, guys, absent any of these, guys, wala tayong plot. Now, meron pa mga additional plots, okay, that will enhance our additional components that will enhance our plots. For example, facet, okay? And then the position, okay? These are other examples of components, but we're going to look into that also. But I said the basic components are yung tatlo, yung data, yung mapping, at saka yung geom. Okay. So, may iba pa mga complex components, but it will not be covered in this course. Kasi ggplot2 itself, pwede mo matutunan niya na kasi napaka-powerful ng package niyan. And we can't, we will need really more time in order to have a more comprehensive study of ggplot2. But what's good is that marami ng tutorials yan sa YouTube. You won't have lack of tutorials for ggplot2. Now in this class we're going to use 5 named graphs, yung mga basic graphs, plus others, pero this will be the focus of our subject. We have scatter plots, line graphs, histograms, box and bar plots. Okay. Now in RStudio, we know that we have the cheat sheet for tools, help, cheat sheets. You have data visualization. And makukuha natin sa PDF yan. Okay. So this is a cheat sheet for ggplot2. Okay, let's briefly take a look at the basics. So as I mentioned a while ago, ggplot2 is based on the grammar of graphics. Okay, ito yung dinevelop ni Leland Wilkinson. Wickham pala, Hadley Wickham, ano I recall, yung nag-develop ng ggplot2. Now, the idea that you can build every graph, so this is your graph, from basic components, from the same components. Ano yung components yun? You have to have data, you have to have the mapping, okay, coordinate system, and you have to have the geom. Yung tatlong yan, guys. Data, geom, and your mapping, your coordinate system, that will give you your plot. Absent any of this, guys, then you don't have the plot. Okay, so we have here some examples. Just to show you, kunyari, guys, ito, no? You have this object A, and this object A, we're making use of ggplot2, the function is ggplot. Then you have here, this is your data, and then this is your mapping. So yung A na to, guys, it consists of two components already. This is, the complete code here is data is equal to economics, but you can dispense with data. Mababasa pa rin ni ggplot yan. Alam niya na yung first ano dito is data. And then yung mapping, okay, which is signaled by AES, aesthetics. So mapping to. No? So yung A, guys, consists of your data and your mapping. Pero pag rinan natin tong code na to, wala pang lalabas na plot. It will only generate a plot with this one. Pinari to. A plus. This is now your geometric object or geom path. And then you generate this. Okay, clear, guys? So tatlong components, you have data, you have the mapping, aesthetic mapping, and the geom. Okay, so let's leave that. Let's go back to our MD file. Now we're going to make use of the NYC Flights package. Okay, the NYC Flights package has several data frames in it. Okay, hanapin nga natin dito yun, guys. Ito. Hindi kasi nag-work sa akin yung, if you try this, NYC Flights 13, let's see. Let's try to see what this, hindi nagre-result sa akin eh. If I try, database plyr, let's see, dbplyr. Kasi si dbplyr then meron ding, wala rin, okay? So, what I do, pag ganyan, if I want to learn more about a particular package, so you can go here. Okay, help guys, NYC flights, diba? 13. Run, enter natin. Okay, so here you have some information about, this is the metadata or information about the package itself, NYC Flights 13. So it tells us that NYC Flights comes from the, although it's a package itself, but it came from the dbplyr, database plyr, which is quite weird kasi package siya mismo, and then it comes from another package, yung dbplyr. Okay, so NYC Flights data, all right? Some information about this, pero hindi sa atin binibigay dito yung ano eh, yung, I think this is a different, I'm not sure about this, guys. Cache the data from my database kasi na NYC Flights in the local database. Okay, so mukhang hindi ito, no? But let me go here sa packages, guys. And dito ko ito-type yung NYC Flights 13. Okay, so you have here NYC Flights. This is version 1.0.1. If I click this, okay, ito. So this is the package NYC flights. It's all about flights that departed in New York City in 2013. And NYC flights actually consist of 5 data frames. Data frames, no? Airlines, airports, flights, planes, and weather. So we're going to use today yung flights data frame natin. Okay, clear so far pa, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's study this NYC flights. Okay, so if I click this NYC flights, if I write NYC flights, and then tingnan ito may double colon, guys. Okay, so ito yung limang 5 data sets that come with NYC flights. May airlines, airports, flights, planes, and weather. And of course, you can, for example, ito na lang, say flights. It will give us information about the flights. So flights is from NYC flights 13. So apparently, guys, yung kanina, yung NYC flights na data from ggplot2, it's different, no? I'm not sure if it has the same content, but what we're using is the flights data from NYC flights 13 package. So may information dyan. Okay, ito yung data frames niya. And then some information about the variables. And the source is the Bureau of Transportation Statistics. You can have here the URL. Okay, so let's proceed, guys. Okay, so let's access the NYC flights data, NYC flights. Okay, so you now have it here, guys, data. So 336,776 observations. Okay, this is quite a big data set with 19 variables. So let's view it. I-view natin siya. Tanggal ko muna to. Let's view it here. Isa yan yung flights natin, guys. 336,776 rows all in all. And then you have 19 variables, 19 columns. Okay. So it's always important to just generate the first 6 rows. So ito yung first 6 rows with 10 more variables. Hindi kinasya yung dito variables. But at least we have an idea of what this data is all about. You have the year, integer, month as an integer, day as an integer. Although wala naman siya sa ating use as an integer kasi hindi naman tayo add or subtract or magpa-perform ng arithmetic operation here. Then you have departure time, 5:17. And then scheduled departure time is 5:15. So, ibig sabihin nun, guys, ang dapat umalis siya ng 5:15 and then it left 5:17. So, there was a delay by 2 minutes. No? Yun ang ibig sabihin nito. Tapos, scheduled arrival time, 8:19. Scheduled arrival time, actual, 8:30. So, there was an arrival delay of 11 minutes. Okay, and others. No? Okay, so then it's also important, although we're going to plot here, di ba? It doesn't mean that we don't have to get the summary statistics. So there are different ways to get the summary statistics. Okay, let's just look at some of them. So for example, itong names, alam naman natin na ibibigay lang sa atin dyan yung mga names ng variables. If want to have a summary of the variable names, and we use the names function. Tapos kung anong class to, si flights, anong class siya. So you take note, this is table and then data frame. Okay, a data frame, a table data frame is also called a table. No? Table ang tawag sa kanya. Okay, so take note, it's a table and it's a data frame. So medyo may kaibahan. There's a difference between a table and a data frame. Okay, kasi si table, parang ano siya, parang refinement ng data frame. Although may mga features si data frame which are still useful na hindi present kay table. That's a problem I see there. Pero generally, mas maraming features si table kaysa kay data frame. But we're going to use both of them, whether it's a data frame or a table. Okay, then we can also get the structure of your flights. Ito yung structure ng flights natin. So these are your variables. The integer, the numeric. Okay, then you have yung time R dito, it's a time series data, di ba? Naalala niyo yung POSIX natin? Did you? O hindi pa tayo nag-ano? Di ba nag-lubridate tayo? No? As we were able to generate time series. So may mga character vectors in fact. Pero here, sa data frame, variable sila dito. No? Okay, then one way by which we can also summarize our data is the glimpse function of dplyr. Okay, ito halos pareho ng structure siya. Okay, dito sinasabi yung mga variables natin, tapos anong data type siya, and then examples of your data. Okay, 336 rows, 19 columns. So this is similar to the structure of our data, yung glimpse, no? Yung summary, did we do this? Hindi, no? So yung summary by variable yan, okay, it gives us the 6-number summary pag quantitative, and then kapag character, it just gives us the count. Example, si carrier, count lang siya. No? Ang number niya 336, character, ang class or mode. But the rest, pag quantitative siya, kinukuha yung first quartile, second quartile, etc. Then if there are missing values, sinalagay din yung mga NAs na, no? NAs, not available. So the summary function also gives a count of data that has missing values. Okay. Then I like, sa pag-summarize, I like yung skim function coming from skim R. So let's run this. Okay, so we have now the output for data summary using skim. So first of all, it summarizes the number of rows and columns. Then sinasabi niya yung type frequency. 4 daw yung character vectors dito. 14 yung numeric at saka isang time series. Then, yung sa character, okay, ito yung mga natin, carrier, tail number, origin, at saka destination. Okay, sinasabi lang dito yung min, max, although yung marami naman dito walang kasi character to, no? So we're not really interested in yung min, max nito. Okay, then you have numeric. Ito yung mas ano, no? So sa bawat variable, anong klaseng character, sandali. So I'm trying to understand what the character, integer, double. So see here, okay, does it refer to this one? Okay, so number of missing, so see here, wala. So see departure time, 8,255 missing values, okay, etc. So rate, I don't know what this rate is, okay, then mean, alam natin to, okay, standard deviation, this is the first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, sorry, first quartile, sorry, this is the minimum, no? Second quartile, third quartile, and then this is the maximum. And then you have a plot of the histogram. So that's what the scheme function gives us, no? From the package scheme R. Also, meron din tayo sa psych, yung describe function. It's taking some time to run. Yan. Okay, so you have here several statistical measures. Yung variable, mean, standard deviation, median, trimmed median, etc. No? Kurtosis, dito yata ito sa dulo. Medyo na-display siya ng konti. Okay. Alright, any questions so far, guys? You'll be needing that. Itong, kasi isang output nyo, guys, is multiple regression. Pag nag-multiple regression, kailangan, guys, ng summary statistics. But you will not just generate this. Kailangan i-explain, guys. Ha? Dari, yung skewness, kurtosis, what does that tell us about that particular variable, etc. Okay, then we have another example of descriptive statistics. So this is coming from the SMART EDA, SMART Exploratory Data Analysis package. And then we have this exploratory data for flights. May mali yata dyan, guys, pakibago na lang. And then type 1, overview, type 2, structure. Kira na nga natin itong sabay, itong dalawa. So overview of your flights data will just give you ilan yung variables, ilan yung integers, ilan yung factor, ilan yung text doon, ilan yung time, okay? Tapos percentage of variables having complete access, cases pala. So 13 of the 19 variables have complete cases. Yung iba may kulang na na less than 50%. So 6 yun. Tapos yung isa naman, hindi, lahat na pala. So wala namang may kulang na between 50% and 90% or greater than 90%. Tapos doon naman sa structure, okay, meron tayong percentage missing, number of distinct values, etc. Okay, so these are just examples, guys, of generating descriptive statistics. Kasi bago ka mag-plot, alamin muna natin, tingnan natin yung mga summary stats niya. Alright, so this is also from Metan package. Andun din yung descriptive statistics. And I think iba yung code natin, pakibago na lang. So we're creating a descriptive stat object called DS1, okay? And then ang function descriptive stat coming from Metan, ang data natin flights, and then stats all, okay? If you want just if you want all the stats, descriptive stat to be generated, ito yun. So sige, i-run natin to, guys. Okay, so may DS1 na tayo dito, no? Let's run this. Ano to? Flights. So si DS1 guys, ito. No? So there are 30 descriptive statistics here. Standard deviation, standard error, skewness. Okay, you have several quartiles here. Number that's unique, number that's missing, valid data, etc. Okay. So this is just to tell you that R has very powerful packages as far as generating descriptive statistics is concerned. Okay, and then we have here, last, ito galing sa summary tools to, no? Summary tools. DF summary, let's see what will be generated by this one. Okay, so kanina pa to guys, medyo nagkakaproblema ako sa ano. How about you guys? Sa inyo, ano lumabas? Ayan. Oh. Kaso, may mali sa output guys. Let me check this. No? Let me check yung DF summary, data frame summary. Okay. Check natin to. Nagkaka-error ako kanina. Alright. So let's move on guys. Let's now, ang bilis ang oras, no? Let's now go to ggplot2 proper. So we're going to make use of the flights data frame, the flights table. And we know that these are flights, record of all flights coming from New York City, in and out of New York City. Okay, so we're going to use the flights and then we're going to subset it and then make use of by making use of the pipe operator. Okay, the pipe operator has this symbol, %, greater than %, and this is coming from the dplyr package. The filter, I meant the filter, no? Yung filter function. Okay, so since narana natin si dplyr, we can now run this code. And what's this code all about? So we have here Alaska flights, and then we use the object flights, and then we filter. So this is a function coming from dplyr. Okay, we don't want all the flights, 336,000 rows. We only want a particular subset of the data, and we want all the carriers that have AS as their code. If you take a look at flights, ito yung carrier natin. So iba-iba yan, ano? Ang gusto lang natin dito yung AS. So that's how we create this code. So Alaska flights, this is the object we're going to create, and then flights, this is the data from which we were using, and then this means and then i-filter natin to only include the carrier that's equal to AS. So let's run this. Okay, were you able to generate Alaska flights, guys?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. Okay, good. So may Alaska flights tayo, no? Okay, tapos yung Alaska flights natin, guys, you can click this. Ito yung Alaska flights natin. And there are only 714 rows, observations. If you take note, guys, lahat ng carriers dito, AS. So we have successfully subsetted from the flights table, and then only generated another data set that whose carrier is AS only. Okay, now if you type this, guys, itong pipe operator na to, shift sa akin ang shift %, and then another shift greater than another shift %. So 6 na keys yung pipindutin ko. There's a shortcut for that, which is just Control Shift M. If I delete this, try nyo nga, guys, i-delete nyo. Tapos Control Shift M at the same time. So that's just the keyboard shortcut for the pipe operator. Could you kindly check, guys? And pati sa Mac yata, guys, Control Shift M din. Kindly chat, guys, if you were able to get it. Oh, yes. Pwede. Pwede. May question dito, pwede ba mag-filter ng tatlo? Yes, pwede. Remember yung and at saka or? Okay. So there's a question here. Is it okay to filter, to use 3 filters? Even more than 3. Okay. So gagamit tayo ng and at saka or. Pero Migs, itong lesson na to, we're going to discuss that next after ggplot, no? Kapag data wrangling na, pag manipulating your data na. The question kasi, guys, is pwede bang i-filter hindi lang only through carrier? Yes, pwede. In fact, may isang example yata ako dito. Tingnan natin kung umabot tayo dito. Let me see. In order to answer the question, ito. Okay, Migs, this is in answer to your question. Okay, so we're using here weather. Okay, filter. Okay, tingnan mo. Tatlo to, no? Origin is equal to EWR, month is equal to 1, day is less than 15. So 3 parameters here, guys. Tatlong filters natin. Okay? And since we're using here the ampersand and, dapat lahat ng conditions to ma-meet bago mapapasok dun sa this resulting data set. Okay? So thank you, Migs, for that question. Okay, so let's go back here. Delete ko na muna to kasi, sorry, I'm using the file that I used in class, no? In the other class. Okay, so let's go back, guys. Okay, so hope, guys, clear yung Control Shift M natin na pipe operator. Now, the first named graph that we're going to look into is the scatter plot. And yung scatter plot, we know it's a bivariate. It's used for it's a bivariate plot. Bivariate kasi dalawang variables ang kailangan natin na dapat yung variables na yun numeric. Okay? Hindi siya pwedeng character variable. Okay, so one of the most commonly used plot niyan, yung scatter plot, and it allows us to see the trend in the relationship between your numerical variables. Okay, let's first take a look at our ggplot, guys, GG code. ggplot, and then we have here data is equal to Alaska flights. So we're going to make use of the object that we created, Alaska flights, in order to plot this. And then mapping. No? Mapping is equal to aesthetics. Then you define here your x variable, depth, departure delay, and arrival delay. So here we're mapping our coordinate plot. No? So sa x natin si departure delay, sa y si arrival delay. Okay? Now, this is also the same as this one. Or, so pwede natin tanggalin si data is equal to, tsaka pwede din natin tanggalin si mapping is equal to. R will perfectly understand that. Okay? So, you'll have the same result there. May question yata. Okay, so let's run this. Yung first one, guys. Okay, what do you now have? Were you able to plot? Yes, guys, but it's only an empty canvas. Bakit? Remember, tatlo dapat yung elements ng ano natin, ng ggplot natin. Dapat andyan yung data, andyan yung mapping, andyan dapat yung geom. Okay? So ito wala, no? Ibig sabihin, na-read niya si data at saka si mapping. Kasi tama yung pag-plot niya ng x-axis, departure delay, and y-axis, arrival delay. Okay, however, kulang pa siya ng ano? Kulang siya ng geometric object, di ba? Okay, before we go there, let's run this. Yung tinagal natin na ano, tinagal natin yung data at saka yung aesthetics. Let's see if we get the same results. Yes, we got the same results, guys, di ba? Both are empty, guys, because wala pa tayong layer ng geom. So let's now plot this. Next natin. Again, the same. Data is equal to Alaska flights. Mapping is equal to ang x natin. Take note din, guys, dito hindi ko nalinagay yung x-axis, no? Kasi understood na yan. Understood na yan. Yung una dyan, x. Tapos yung pangalawa, y. And then, now we have the third element, geom point. So if we run this, okay, x is departure delay, y is arrival delay. Which is correct. Hindi natin linagay si x dito. Okay. Were you able to generate the plot? Kindly chat yes, guys. Okay, good, good. Thank you. Thank you, class. Okay, so we were able to plot from the, using the Alaska flights data, ang nasa x-axis yung departure delay, ang nasa arrival yung, ang nasa y yung arrival delay. Okay, what do you think is the relationship between arrival delay and departure delay and arrival delay? Ano yung relationship nila, guys? Diba sabi natin kanina, ang scatter plot allows us to see the trend, any trend in the relationship between the two variables. Ano relationship nila? Is there a relationship between the two? Ang ibig sabihin ng relationship, kunyari, si departure delay ba habang lumalaki? Habang nag-i-increase siya? Si arrival delay ba rin nag-i-increase? Yes, that's a relationship and it's called a positive relationship. Pag negative relationship, guys, ang trend pa ganito, pababang ganito. Pag negative relationship, pababang ganun yung scatter plot natin. So in this case, as to the question, what's the relationship between departure delay and arrival delay? There is a positive relationship between the two variables. Positive means as one increases, the other increases, or as one decreases, the other also decreases. They move in the same direction. Okay? Now, ang negative naman, guys, opposite direction sila. And I said a while ago, it will move in this direction. When we generated this plot, what was the warning, guys? Nagka-warning ba? Paka-chat nga, please. Was there a warning when we plotted this geom via geom
Yes,
point?
sir.
Yes, there was a warning. Ang warning is ito, no? Remove 5 rows containing missing values. Okay, so automatically si R, remove niya yung 5 rows for our information. May 5 rows dyan na dinelete kasi missing yung data. Okay, how about this? Comment on the clustering of the data. How would you comment on this? Yung clustering niya dito. Anyone? What can you say about the clustering here? Ibig sabihin, guys, majority of our data points, sorry, may nag-check yata. Okay, yeah, correct. Guys said that's correct, no? They seem to be fairly on time kasi zero departure delay, zero arrival time, no? And marami din ang advance yung pag-alis, no? Kasi departure delay, this is zero, this means this is negative. Pag negative yung departure delay, ibig sabihin ahead of time yung pag-alis, no? Tapos, ang result, ahead of time pag-alis, ahead of time din pag-arrive. No? Kasi negative din yung arrival time niya. Okay? Ay, yung arrival delay. Ibig sabihin, negative yung arrival delay, hindi siya delay. In fact, ano pa, yung ahead of time pa. Okay? Why do you think there is a cluster of points here, 0 and 0? As we mentioned a while ago, most of the planes either left on time and then arrived on time and then left ahead of schedule and then arrived ahead of schedule. So meron lang mga bukod tanging mga flights na 200 minutes, more than 200 minutes yung delay. So that means approximately 1.75 hours. No? Laki. Okay. Now, same thing, guys, same thing. If I change the geometric object, for example, this one, same data, same X and Y axis, but we're changing the object. Okay, we have here a geometric smooth, geom smooth. It's used for regression. We're not going to go into the details of that, what it's about. What we're interested here is that it generates a different type of plot when we change the geometric object. Okay, clear so far, guys? Paki-chat nga kung clear.
Yes po.
Okay. All right. Now, what happens? No? What happens if we baka may questions in there, huh? Okay, thank you. What will happen, guys, if i-remove nyo yung plus dito, ilagay nyo dito sa first line dito? Sige, what happens?
Magkaka-error po.
Yes. Hindi siya tinatanggap, guys, no? Hindi siya tinatanggap. So that means, guys, yung plus dapat, if you're using addition to the layers, the plus should appear either in the middle or at the end of the line. Okay? Hindi pa pwedeng at the beginning of the line. Hindi magra-run yan, mag-error siya. Okay. Okay, now, ang problema dito sa plot natin kasi masyadong one on top of the other na yung yung data natin dito sa 0, 0, close to 0, 0. That's why it's so difficult to make heads or tails out of this. Kasi ang tawag dyan, overplotting. The large mass of points near 0, 0, it can cause some confusion. And hindi natin ma-detect yung real number of the points that are plotted. Kasi nga parang nag-gray out na, nag-black out na siya, parang color na. So we cannot really decipher saan dun yung mga actual data points. And we call that overplotting. So there are two ways by which we can address overplotting. One way is use transparency, and another way is use the jitter or the random nudges. So let's first make use of transparency in order to address the overplotting. So we have the same data, Alaska flights, mapping natin, departure delay and arrival delay din. And then the geom point, okay, when we define under the geom point, ito na yung aesthetic ng geom point natin, is equal to alpha is equal to 0.1. Now, bakit yung alpha na yan hindi linagay dito? Hindi siya linagay dito. It's placed here kasi this is specific to geom point. Yung alpha na to. This is specific to geom point. We want the geom point to be transparent by 10%. Sigara natin to, guys. Okay, what happened? How do you describe now the plot? Nung ginamitan natin ng alpha na 0.1. Any comment, guys?
Mas light na yung color, sir.
Yeah, mas naging transparent siya. So dito dun sa overplotting, medyo nawala, no? Medyo mas kita natin kahit papano kasi yung darker niyan, ibig sabihin, mas maraming points dyan. Yung mas konti, lighter na siya. At least this is in terms of being able to see the data points, this is better than this one. Kasi dito talagang hindi na natin nakikita. Okay, we can actually also change the alpha. Subukan natin, no? Gawin natin, ano kung magiging 0.5? I-run nyo. Okay, so mas lesser na yung, yung transparency. Pag alpha is equal to 1, then parang pareho na kanina doon. So you have to choose, kunyari 0.2. What can you say out of this, guys? So, medyo may transparency din, ano? Pero not as light as the one, yung kaninang 0.1. And if, in fact, we can make it 5%. And then let's run this. Mas lighter talaga siya. No? Okay? Any questions, guys, about the transparency? Making use of this alpha. So, tandaan nyo, pag alpha, guys, you address overplotting. Now, another way to itong question na to, why is setting the alpha argument value useful with scatter plots? Answer, guys? Ano ginagawa ng alpha, guys?
Sir, it avoids overplotting po.
Okay, by blurring, no? Blurring yung
Yes, sir.
data natin. Yung hindi magkakapare-pareho, light siya. Pero pag medyo magkakapare-pareho, parehong points, medyo darker yung kulay niya, no?
Yes, sir.
Diba? As shown here, diba? Dito sa ito. Okay, di ba ito medyo may quite black here, di ba? Quite dark. Ibig sabihin, yung concentration ng data andyan dyan. As compared to dito, yung mag-iisa, no? Ito, very light, halos hindi mo na makita. Ibig sabihin, walang concentration ng data yan. So that's what you get by using the transparency function alpha. Okay, next. How about using jitter, guys? Pag jitter naman, ninanudge natin ng konti yung yung data natin in a random direction. Okay? Ito hindi ko yata na-post tong picture na to, but I'm going to post this. Sorry, hindi natin makikita to kasi this is in my desktop. Hindi ko pa na-post to. I'm sorry about this. Okay, the jitter function nudges the points a bit. Parang sinashake lang ng konti. Konti lang. Okay. In the diagram below, okay, bibigay ko na lang to. Wala. So I haven't uploaded this. Okay, but let's look at jitter here. So ang function nun, guys, geom jitter. Okay, geom jitter. So same. And then width is equal to 30. Height is equal to 30. So ano ibig sabihin ng width at saka height? Ito yung paggalaw niya. Pag-shake niya. So a higher width will mean mas malaki-laki yung shake kaysa dun sa mas maliit yung Yung shake dito, width is equal to 20, height is equal to 20. Okay, so let's run this. Run. Okay. Notice guys, what happened?
Yung mga data po ng konti.
Yes, lumayo, no? Kasi ni-nudge niya eh. Lumayo ng konti. Okay, para naging it became almost a ball, no? So that's what happens, guys, when we use the jitter function. Okay, how about this? Liitan natin ng konti, no? Width 20, height 20, and then dagdagan natin ng ano ng transparency ng alpha. Okay, let's do this. Okay. So you notice now yung nudging niya, yung pag-jitter niya, mas maliit, no? Mas konti kasi ginawa nating point 2.2 lang, no? Okay? Yung alpha natin 0.2 din. If we decrease this, 10, mas konti lang yung pag-jitter niya. Di ba? Okay? All right. So if you have overplotting, which means data upon data, then hindi natin mas makikita yung yung plot nun kasi superimpose na sila, no? So two ways by which we can do that by way of review is your alpha. Okay, so that ang gagawin niya, medyo i-darken niya yung mga magkakapatong na data. Tapos yung mga light, yung mga wala, ila-light na yun. So kitang-kita natin kung saan yung concentration ng data natin. Okay, any questions so far, guys? Any questions?
None, sir.
Okay, good. The rest, guys, kamusta? Clear lang? Okay, good.
Sir,
Yes?
less accurate ba yung jitter, sir? Since minimove natin yung data points.
Hindi. Actually, ano lang yan sa graph lang yan. Yung actual data points yan, guys, is not really moved. So in terms of accuracy, well, hindi accurate talaga itong jitter kasi in a sense, parang nag-plus minus tayo dun sa data natin. Ginalaw natin ng konti. But it's just a visual tool in order for us to see. Lalo na pag kinombine natin with alpha, no? With the transparency. Kasi makikita talaga natin kung saan ba talaga nag-concentrate yung data natin. Okay? Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, ito, nag-note pala ako dito. Jittering is strictly a visualization tool. The original values saved, in this case yung Alaska flights natin, in the data frame remain unchanged. So hindi nababago guys yung departure delay at saka arrival delay. Hindi nababago yan. Yung plotting lang, parang inano lang niya, it's just a, parang visual manipulation para lang medyo kumalat, ma-disperse ng konti yung data natin. Of course, ang pangit yan guys, wala nang sense yan. Kunyari gawin natin tong, let's say, 50. 50. Okay, rinan natin yan. Di ba? Parang hindi na yan yung data natin kanina eh. Kasi kanina yung data natin, ang concentration niya, andi dito sa sa below zero na departure delay at saka below zero na arrival delay. Ngayon, parang nalipat na dito. Okay? Parang na-spread out na siya. Which is not really the real data. Ano pa natin, lalo pa natin i-dramatize pa natin lalo 80. Run natin. Wala na, parang ibang data na to, no? So yung jittering guys, it will work only for small widths and height. Unless you would parang talagang gusto mo parang i-microscope na parang i-enlarge mo siya. Okay? But if you just want to address yung overplotting, a small width and height will already do. Kanina nag-20 tayo. 20. Ito yung original natin kanina. Okay? So na-stretch out siya, pero yung concentration ng data, andi dito pa rin, no? Medyo nga lang pumunta dito ng konting iba. Okay, any other questions? Thank you for that question. Well appreciated. Clear ba so far, guys?
Clear, sir.
Okay. All right. Now, next meeting, gusto ko rin guys, pag-aralan niyo yung yung practicing niyo sa data. We're not going to do this now, pero I want you to practice on this data kasi maraming famous popular data sa sa R. Isang data yung data iris. If you click that, run that code. So may iris tayo, no? Gagamitin din natin tong iris. Gapminder gagamitin din natin for ggplot2. So we're going to explore, experiment, guys. Saan si iris? So this is also a data frame. Ay, ayaw, hindi pa pala. Ayaw pa kasi hindi pa natin na-view, iris. Kaya nag-promise pa lang siya, guys. Oh. Ibig sabihin, ready na siya, pero dapat i-view natin. Yan. So, 150 observations. You have 4 numerical variables and 1 categorical variable. Ito magandang gawin din ng ggplot. Okay, so try to experiment, guys. Kunyari, magpa-plot kayo ng geom point dito. Siyempre, gagamit kayo ng dalawang quantitative variables. Si sepal length, kunyari, at saka sepal width or petal length, petal width, or any combination of those. Okay? So next meeting, i-explore din natin to, plus other data sets. Tingnan natin yung power, tingnan natin yung mga features ni ggplot2. Okay, let's have another example. Line graphs naman. No? Line graphs. Line graphs naman, relationship then between 2 numerical variables. Okay, yung isa nasa x, okay, yung isa naman nasa y. Okay, usually ginagamit to sa regression din, okay, where what we put in the x-axis is your explanatory variable. Okay, so yung y natin nasa yung the data that we're trying to explain. Okay, which is your outcome variable. It's plotted on the y-axis. Okay, also ginagamit yung yung line graphs kapag sequential yung data natin. Kunyari, by time. Kunyari, sales from January 2010 up to January 2021. So mas magandang gamitin yan, guys, ang line graphs kaysa dun sa geom point kanina. Kasi may interrelationship yung yung may chronological relationship yung mga days. Okay? So we use line graphs if there's chronology among the data. Okay? May inherent ordering yung variable natin. Okay, example, hours, days, weeks, years. Since time is sequential, we connect consecutive observations of the variable on the y-axis with the line. So, i-connect natin siya. Okay, so let's do this, guys. Okay, let's use the weather data. Okay, if we, so ano ba yung weather data na to? Weather. Okay, so this is also from NYC flights. No? So ano yung laman niya? Origin, temperature, humidity. Okay, so may time hour siya. No? Okay, so ito guys, may time frame. Actually, pati si flights meron din, di ba? So we can make use of a line graph here kasi may time data to. No? Okay, balik tayo dito. So let's, so na yan, ito. Data, let's access this, data weather. And then naka-promise pa lang, so you view it. Okay, so ito guys yung mga variables natin. Okay, the end is your time hour. which is a good variable to plot for line graphs. Okay, then i-glimpse lang natin. Okay, so meron tayong date and time, double. Okay, and then integer. Okay, so i-run nyo na yung summary guys ha, yung depende yan kung anong klaseng data type yan. Okay, so what we're going to do is, ito na yung tinatanong kanina, no? Can we use the filtering device in dplyr to filter other variables? Okay, so ito, filter the weather data frame. Isasama lang natin sa origin, si Newark. Di ba sa origin guys, tatlo yan? Si Newark, si LaGuardia, at saka si, tingnan natin si weather. Ito, origin. May EWR tayo, may Newark. Meron tayong, dami pa, 26,000 pala to. So may LaGuardia at saka may JFK yan. So tatlong different types of origin. So we're going to create this early January weather. When you give names guys, mas maganda kung kung descriptive siya, no? So January weather to early kasi less than 15. So we're going to make use of the weather data set na access na natin yan. Control-Shift-M, pipe operator. Filter natin, origin dapat equal to EWR. Month dapat January. And day dapat less than 15. So these are flight information from January 1 to January 15 of month of January 1 up to January 1 up to January 15 coming from where the flight origin is EWR. So let's run this. Control Enter. Okay, so early January weather. All right. So tingnan natin guys, no? Ang ano niya, ang carrier, ang origin niya lahat to. Where's the origin? Ito. Lahat ng origin dito EWR, di ba? Na filter niya, no? 358. Lahat ng months 1. Okay, lahat ng day less than 15. So take a look at this. Yung day sa dulo hanggang 15, no? 15. Or we can use here, pwedeng head, early, okay, and tail, early, yan. Can run this, Control Enter. All right, so first 6, ano EWR yan, no? And then 23rd, ano ba yung ano natin? 2013 pala lahat talaga. January, and then the tail, hanggang 15, no? EWR pa rin. Okay, class, clear so far? Any questions? Any questions? Pa-chat na lang.
None, sir.
Okay, good.
Oh, sir, by the way po, sorry to interrupt, pero time na po, sir.
Ay, time na ba? Ay, nga pala, sorry. Hala,
Yes,
mag 10 minutes na pala. Thank you, sorry, stop recording na.